everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling AI in the future. It's a pretty huge topic, obviously. We'll try to hit the highlights, the potential pitfalls, and, what it all means for us regular folks.
Well, it's interesting because the sources you sent me, it really feels like this future we always talk about, it's not that far off anymore, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
in some ways, it's already happening.
Absolutely. And that's why I thought it would be a great time for a deep dive.
Right.
And we've got some great sources to dig into. We've got interviews with people like Mo Gaudat
Oh, wow, yeah.
from Google X,
Okay.
Imad Mustak from Stability AI.
Hmm.
So we're getting right into the thick of it, hearing from the people who are building this future. We've also gained some philosophical perspective
Oh, interesting.
from folks like Nick Bostrom, and we've even got some predictions from economists about how AI is going to affect the job market. So, buckle up, get ready for a wild ride.
It seems like with all of this, I mean, just reading through everything, there's a real sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Like, things are moving faster than anyone expected.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And we need to, adapt and be thoughtful about how we move forward.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think one of the best examples of that is, Mo Gaudat talks about how surprised he was by how quickly AI aced the Turing test. I mean, this was something that even experts thought was years, if not decades away.
Wow. Yeah, you would think so.
Right.
Like, that's a huge milestone.
And it just kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah.
So it's like we're entering this uncharted territory. The rules are being rewritten as we speak, and we need to be ready for a world where AI isn't just this, helpful little tool, but something that's much more powerful and potentially transformative.
Yeah, it's not just like a calculator anymore.
No, not at all. So, as we're going through all this, I think the question that keeps coming back to me is, what does this mean for me, for you, for the average person out there?
Right.
What are the skills that we have right now that might become obsolete? And more importantly, what are the skills we need to develop to thrive in this AI-powered world?
Right, because it's coming whether we're ready for it or not.
Exactly. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And I think that ties in, just thinking about Nick Bostrom's idea about the psychological impact of AI doing everything for us.
Oh, that's a really interesting point.
Like, what happens to our sense of purpose?
Yeah.
If we don't need to work, if machines can fulfill all of our needs, could we end up in some kind of existential crisis?
Right. Like, what's the point of it all if we're not the ones doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you think about, he compares it to the issue of obesity.
Oh, that's an interesting analogy.
We have so much food available to us now, which is great.
In theory, yeah.
Right, but because we haven't adapted our behavior, it's caused all these health problems. And it's kind of similar with AI. It could create this abundance of everything, but we need to figure out how to navigate that wisely.
Yeah, it's like too much of a good thing can sometimes be a bad thing.
Exactly.
And that's where I think this idea of intelligence augmentation comes in. Imad Mustak talks about this a lot.
Oh, okay.
And he's envisioning a future where everyone has access to personalized AI tools. It's like having a super smart personal assistant.
Okay, that's an interesting concept.
Right. One that can help you learn things faster, create things, solve problems. It's like having a grad student on call 24/7.
Wow.
But, this grad student can also write code and analyze data
Oh, wow.
and maybe even compose a symphony. So the potential here is really mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really is. And, thinking about potential, you mentioned the creative industries earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, Imad Masak also talks about the impact AI is going to have on filmmaking, and he predicts some pretty significant changes. Like, imagine a future where one person, with the help of AI tools, can do what used to take, like, a 50-person film crew.
Whoa, that's wild.
Right. Like, it's both exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what other industries are going to be transformed in similar ways.
Yeah, because if it can happen in filmmaking, it can happen anywhere, really.
Right. And so it's like we need to be adaptable. We need to be willing to embrace these new ways of working. But it also opens up these incredible possibilities for people to, express their creativity, bring their visions to life in ways that were never possible before.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it like that.
And it's not just about, art and creativity. AI has the potential to tackle some of the biggest challenges facing humanity.
Right, right.
Like, we came across this article about a climate engineer who's using AI to monitor environmental conditions and come up with solutions for climate change.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
And Jensen Huang, who's the CEO of NVIDIA, he talks about AI-powered smart grids, optimizing energy distribution from renewable sources. It's like we could actually start solving some of these problems that have felt so intractable for so long.
Yeah, that gives me a bit of hope,
Hey,
actually.
me too, me too. And then, of course, we can't forget about healthcare.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, AI has the potential to revolutionize everything from diagnostics to personalized treatment plans. Think about how quickly AI could analyze medical images, detect potential issues. It could be a game changer.
Absolutely. Early detection is everything.
Right. And then on the other side of things, developing these personalized treatments, AI could help doctors create plans that are tailored to your specific needs and your genetic makeup.
It's like finally, medicine is catching up to the 21st century.
Right. And this brings us to another really interesting area of AI development, which is spatial intelligence.
Spatial intelligence.
Yeah, Fei Li, who's this amazing computer scientist, she's really pushing AI beyond just flat images and texts, towards a deeper understanding of the 3D world.
So it's like AI that can actually interact with the physical world.
Exactly. Like, imagine an AI that can not only generate a video game world, but one that's constantly evolving, reacting to your actions, and feels truly alive.
Whoa, that's next level.
Right. That's the kind of immersive experience that spatial intelligence could unlock. But it's not just about gaming.
Right.
Think about AI that can navigate complex environments like disaster zones,
Oh, yeah.
assist surgeons in performing delicate procedures, or even design and build structures with the level of precision and efficiency we've never seen before.
It's like the possibilities are endless.
You really are. And it's all happening so fast. It's exciting. It's a little bit scary, but it's definitely something that we all need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, because the future is being built right now, and we need to be a part of that conversation. And it's not just about the physical world, right?
Right.
Like, what about the potential for AI to enhance our own cognitive abilities?
Oh, yeah. That's another fascinating area. Like, imagine having access to an AI assistant that could help you learn new languages faster, remember vast amounts of information.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
that'd be amazing.
Right. Or even make better decisions by analyzing complex data and highlighting potential biases. It's almost like having a personalized brain booster.
Yeah, like a superpower.
Exactly. But it also raises some interesting ethical questions. Like, if everyone has access to this kind of cognitive enhancement, does it create an unfair advantage for those who can afford the most advanced AI systems?
Yeah.
And how do we ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically?
Yeah, those are really important questions because it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it.
Right. And those are questions that we're going to be exploring in much more depth as we continue this deep dive.
I can't wait.
Me too. Because the future of AI is full of both promise and potential pitfalls, and the choices that we make today are going to determine what that future looks like. So stay tuned. We've got a lot more to uncover.
It really is. It can feel a little overwhelming, right? Like we're talking about potential job losses, biased algorithms, AI making inequality even worse. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's complicated. But I think it's important to remember that, we're not just powerless bystanders in all of this.
Right.
We actually have a say in how this all plays out.
Mhm.
One way to think about it, I guess, is that AI is kind of like a mirror, right?
Yeah.
It reflects our own values and biases back at us.
That's a good point.
So if we want AI to be a force for good, then we need to be really intentional about the values that we're embedding in these systems.
Makes sense. So where do we even begin? I mean, how do we actually make sure that the future of AI is one that benefits everyone, not just a select few? Well, education is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like we need to give people the knowledge and skills they need to not just survive, but thrive in this AI-powered world.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we're talking about digital literacy, critical thinking, really understanding how AI works.
So it's almost like we need to become fluent in the language of AI so that we can, understand its potential, its limits, its impact on our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Like AI literacy needs to become just as fundamental as reading and writing.
And this education, it needs to start early.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we need to be incorporating AI concepts into school curricula so kids are growing up with this understanding from a young age.
Yeah, it shouldn't be some, like, mysterious thing. It should be something that they're comfortable with, that
Yeah.
they understand.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technical skills, right?
Right.
It's also about cultivating the sense of ethical responsibility around AI. Like we need to be asking questions like, what are the potential consequences of this technology? Who benefits? Who might be harmed? How can we mitigate those harms?
Yeah, those are the big questions.
Right.
And we need to be having those conversations not just, in Silicon Valley, but in classrooms, in living rooms, in government. Like, everyone needs to be a part of this.
Exactly. This isn't just a tech issue. This is a societal issue.
Totally.
And speaking of important discussions, one of the biggest debates right now is around regulation.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
How do we find that balance between fostering innovation, which is important, and preventing those potential harms that we've been talking about?
It's tricky. It really is.
Okay.
Because if you regulate too much, you could stifle creativity. But if you don't regulate enough, then you're leaving yourself open to all these unintended consequences.
It's a tough needle to thread.
For sure. But we need to find a way, right?
We do. And one idea that I've heard a lot about is this concept of AI licensing.
AI licensing. Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, doctors and lawyers and engineers, they need to be licensed to practice their professions.
Right.
Well, some experts are saying that AI developers should be required to obtain licenses too, like demonstrating that they understand the ethical principles, the responsible AI development practices.
Okay, so like proving that they're not going to create something that's going to turn on us or something.
Yeah, or create something that's inherently biased or discriminatory,
Hmm.
like really thinking through those implications before they release something into the world.
Hmm. It's an interesting idea.
Mm.
But I guess the question is like, who decides who gets a license? And what are the criteria? And, how do we even enforce that? It's like, is that even possible?
Yeah, those are all valid points. And honestly, I don't know the answers.
Right.
But I think it highlights the fact that we need to be thinking about this now, like what are the regulatory frameworks that we need to put in place to make sure that AI develops in a way that benefits humanity?
Yeah, because it would be a lot harder to put those in place after the fact.
Exactly. We don't want to be playing catch up with this stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's not just about, national regulations, right? Because AI is a global thing.
Yeah.
So we need to be thinking about international agreements, common standards,
Yeah.
making sure that everyone's on the same page.
It's almost like we need a global AI ethics council or something.
Right. Like a UN for AI.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be kind of cool, actually.
It would. It would be a way to bring together the best minds from all over the world, to
Yeah.
develop some sort of shared framework for responsible AI development.
Yeah, like a set of principles that everyone agrees on. I mean, think about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Right.
We could have something similar for AI, like a Universal Declaration of AI ethics.
I love that idea. I mean, it would be a way to ensure that AI is used to promote human well-being, not to undermine it.
Exactly. Okay, but let's be real for a second. I mean, one of the biggest fears people have about AI
Yeah.
is that it's going to become so intelligent that it, like, takes over,
Yeah.
Like that it surpasses human control, maybe even poses a threat to our existence.
The classic sci-fi scenario.
Right. But is that actually something we need to be worried about?
Well, it's a question that's worth asking, for sure. But I think it's important to remember that AI, as it exists today, it's still a tool.
Right.
It's something that we created, something that we control. It doesn't have its own consciousness or, its own agenda. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Jan LeCun, who's the chief AI scientist at Meta,
Mm.
he argues that this whole fear of AI turning against us is totally unfounded. He compares AI development to the evolution of animal intelligence. Like, there's a huge difference in cognitive abilities between, say, a cat and a human,
Right.
but both are intelligent in their own ways.
Yeah.
And we don't fear that cats are going to suddenly rise up and, like, take over the world.
Right. Although sometimes I look at my cat and I wonder.
Okay, maybe cats are a bad example.
Yeah, just kidding. But I mean, the point is we shouldn't be afraid of AI becoming some sort of super intelligence that's beyond our control, at least not yet.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. But I still think it's smart to, keep an eye on things, make sure we're building in safeguards just in case.
Oh, absolutely. Vigilance is key, but we don't need to be paralyzed by fear.
Right.
Like, the future of AI is still being written, and we have the power to steer it in a positive direction. And one of the most exciting things about AI, at least to me, is its potential to unlock all these new possibilities in fields like scientific research, healthcare, education. I mean, imagine a world where AI is helping us discover new cures for diseases, personalizing education for every student.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like truly individualized learning plans. That would be incredible.
Right. Or using AI to help us understand the universe in ways that we never thought possible.
Yeah, like AI could be the key to unlocking all these mysteries that have baffled us for centuries.
It really could. But it's important to remember that technology, even something as powerful as AI, it's not a magic solution.
Right. It's a tool.
It's a tool that can be used for good or for ill. And the ultimate outcome depends on the choices that we make.
And that brings us back to the human element, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not about the technology itself. It's about how we use it.
Exactly. So, what can we do as individuals to ensure that AI is used for good? I mean, it feels kind of overwhelming, right? Like, how can one person make a difference in something as big and complex as this?
Yeah, I get that. It's
Yeah.
easy to feel like it's all out of our hands.
hmm
But the truth is, even though AI development is largely driven by these big tech companies and governments, that doesn't mean that we don't have a role to play.
Okay, so what can we do?
Well, for starters, we can stay informed, keep up with the latest developments in AI, educate ourselves about the issues.
Right.
We can participate in these public discussions about AI ethics, support organizations that are working to promote responsible AI development.
That's a good point. We can vote with our wallets too, right?
Oh, absolutely. We can choose to support companies that are developing AI in ethical and responsible ways. We can be critical of AI-generated content, not just blindly accept everything we see and hear. And we can demand transparency and accountability from the people who are creating and deploying these AI systems.
It's about being an informed and engaged citizen in this new AI-powered world.
Exactly. Every choice we make, even if it seems small, it contributes to shaping this future. It's a collective responsibility. We all have a part to play.
I love that. And I think one of the most powerful tools we have is our voice.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
we can use our voices to advocate for policies that promote responsible AI development, to educate others about the potential benefits and risks, to demand that AI is used in a way that benefits everyone.
Yes, and to push back against all the fear-mongering and hype.
Right.
AI doesn't have to be this scary existential threat. It can be an amazing tool for progress, for innovation, for social good. But it's
Yeah.
up to us to make that happen.
It's about creating this sense of shared responsibility, collective action. The future of AI isn't some predetermined thing. It's something that we're actively shaping right now. And it's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future that we can all be proud of.
Yeah, I like that. A future we can be proud of.
Wow, yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've covered so much in this deep dive. The speed at which AI is developing, what it might mean for jobs, for society, all those big ethical questions. And of course, the need to really think carefully about regulation.
Yeah, and honestly, we've only just scratched the surface. AI is so vast and it's changing so quickly that, we could talk about this for days and still not cover everything. But I think we hit on some of the most important points at least.
Yeah, I think so too. And, one thing that really struck me throughout all this, I don't know about you, but there's this feeling of excitement, right?
Yeah.
But also apprehension.
Oh, absolutely. It's like this incredible potential, this technology that could solve problems, make our lives better,
Right.
and maybe even help us understand the universe better. But then there's that fear, that kind of what if,
Yeah.
you know? What if we use it the wrong way? What if
Yeah.
it leads to job losses? Or even, becomes a threat to humanity?
It's kind of like we're standing on the edge of something really big, you know?
Yeah.
We can see the amazing view, but we're also a little afraid to take that next step.
It's like we need to have both. We need that optimism, that excitement, but also that caution, that awareness of the risks.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. So as we start to wrap things up here, what do you think are some of the most important things for people to take away from this deep dive? Like, what do you really hope listeners will remember?
Well, I think the main thing is that AI, it's not this big mysterious force that we can't control. It's ultimately a collection of technologies, tools that we humans are creating.
Right.
And that means we have the power to shape how AI is used, to make sure it's used for good.
That's a good point. It's easy to feel like, oh, this is just happening to us. But you're right. We have agency. We can make choices that will affect what this future looks like.
Exactly. We're not passive observers. We can be active participants in all of this.
Mhm.
Like, we can educate ourselves, we can talk about these issues with others, we can support organizations that are doing good work in this space.
And we can hold the people who are creating AI accountable, right?
Absolutely. We can demand transparency, fairness, responsibility.
Yeah, we need to be asking those tough questions. How is this being used? Who benefits? Who's being harmed? And be ready to push back against applications of AI that feel wrong, that feel unethical.
It all comes back to critical thinking. We can't just take everything we hear about AI at face value.
Right,
We
right.
need to be skeptical, look for potential biases, and really evaluate the claims that are being made about what AI can and can't do.
Yeah, we need to be able to cut through the hype, see things clearly, and also remember that AI isn't a replacement for human intelligence, for creativity, for compassion.
No, those things are still what make us human.
And they're going to be more important than ever as we navigate this AI-powered future. AI can help us, it can augment our abilities, but it can't replace our humanity.
Exactly. And ultimately, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
The future of AI, it's not a technological question, it's a human question.
It's about the choices we make, the values we hold dear, the kind of world we want to build.
And on that note, I think we can wrap things up here.
Yeah, I think so too. I really appreciate you joining me for this deep dive. It's been an amazing conversation.
Likewise, it's been great.
And for all of you listening out there, I hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, maybe sparked some ideas, and hopefully inspired you to get involved in shaping the future of AI. Because it's a future that's being created right now. And it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future that benefits everyone. So until next time, keep those minds curious and stay engaged.